You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast, fresh off of a Jake Paul unanimous decision victory over Nate Diaz. We will talk about that. We will talk about the, let's just say, for lack of a better word, disappointing main event that was Corey Sandhagen and Rob Font. What a real sad state of affairs that was. And we will just talk about everything that we need to that happened this past weekend. That's not SummerSlam, all right? I know all you people out there were dying for my SummerSlam review. That's not going to happen right now, but my name is Matt McSweeney. I'm joined by Ty Capone. Ty, how are you feeling after seeing Oppenheimer for the second time yesterday?
Pretty good. Testing my ability to stay awake.
There you go.
But, listen, we got to see Florence Pugh naked. I think that's A+ all around.
Sounds like a good day every time that happens.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But no, it was great. And the fights that we just saw were not. And the ones coming up, I assume, are not. But 292, is it? In 2 weeks, I'm pumped for that shit. I don't know who to pick in the main event. Usually whoever I pick loses, so I think it's safe to, bet on Aljamain Sterling here, because I think I got Sean O'Malley in this one, but I can't wait for that entire card. I mean, we get Chris Weidman 10 years off as a snapped leg. We know what to do there.
Yeah.
I'm glad the Contender Series is back. Week 1 was pretty bad, but we saw a fella named Tom Nolan, big-ass lightweight, just put somebody to sleep. That was nice. I think he's already going to be on the whenever the next Australia card is. I think they already penciled that in.
Jesus.
Tracy Cortez's brother, not great. But and then we're coming to the end of the Contender Series, which our Ultimate Fighter, which now we're finally getting good fights. I mean, the fight last night, I don't know if you watched it, but that was just a fucking,
bloodbath.
One-sided, but still, just absolute war.
That's the Jason Knight I know, by the way. That's the Mississippi Mean I know, who's just getting the piss beat out of him. That, unfortunately.
Yeah, Louisiana comes away with the win like they do in college football every year over Mississippi. So we're keeping traditions fresh. Kurt Hallball looked awesome, especially for 36 years old, honestly.
He's looked good the whole show.
Him and Austin Hubbard, I believe, right, is going to be the finale.
Yeah.
That's going to be nasty. So 292 is going to be awesome. I think they're setting up pretty much every pay-per-view, for the rest of the year, honestly, to be something special. They're already trying to plan 295. 294's coming together pretty well, I would say. And 293, that's the Sydney card, right? I can't.
They made Strickland and Adesanya already, man. That's pretty.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little underwhelming matchup-wise, but I think, Carlos Holberg is probably going to smoke somebody, and Justin Taffa is running it back with Austin Lane. That's going to be a rivalry.
I'm sure Jamie Malarkey will be out there.
JP Malarkey will be somewhere out there.
If Junior Taffa's eye's still in his head, then he'll get in there.
Mike Matheta, if he wins this, he's going back to Blood Diamond. But if that's what they have him. They keep changing his name.
Yeah,
that's the most crazy shit I've ever seen. So I guarantee if he beats this guy, he's going to be back to Blood Diamond.
Some WWE shit. Every time you lose, just change your gimmick and go back to whatever it was before. And then
also heard SummerSlam was pretty good. Can you confirm?
Hey, I enjoyed it. I had a great time watching.
Dave was hyping me up. I was like, that's going to be the worst thing all weekend. And I honestly doubt it was.
No, it was definitely better than the Jake Paul card. I watched that. I actually watched the Serrano fight, too. But we'll get to all that on the second half. We're going to start here with Sandhagen and Font. Not going to spend too much time on this specific fight because it was kind of a snooze fest. It was really just a grapple fest, not really threatened for any sort of end of the fight. I mean, it all makes sense afterwards with Sandhagen's tricep being basically torn off the bone, and his elbow looked horrific in the days after the fight. But that doesn't. I mean, I don't want to say that it doesn't matter, but as a viewer, it does. I'd rather you have pulled out of the fight than have to. I mean, had Umar stayed in this fight, he would have gotten killed. Then I guess if he only had one arm to compete with, but Sandhagen's showing that he's well rounded, and he's long, rangy. He can throw hands. He can grapple. He can wrestle. There's a lot of different things he can do, but. Saw a lot of people pointing out that he just sometimes I think Rob either got reversed him or took him down at one point, and he just kind of like gives his back up right away to kind of get up, and it just that's what kind of opens him up to getting finished in a minute by Aljamain, and similar just mistakes that he's made in his career, but we're not going to harp on that today. It's just this is more of a Sandhagen domination and Rob Font kind of just. Really, I don't want to shit on him too much, but because he kind of took this late notice, but he really, I had much more hopes for Rob Font.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did, but 7-7, Sandhagen was on takedowns. He almost had more takedowns than Rob Font. Rob Font had significant strikes landed. Think about that for a second. He had more takedowns than Ricky Simone had. I think he might have had. Yeah, nobody's even come close to taking Rob Font down 7 times, but the problem is he's faced how many matchups has he had that kind of just stay on the feet? Adrian Yanez, Chito Vera, Jose Aldo, Moraes, Sergio Pettis, Asuncao, and even Asuncao took him down. Thomas Almeida. Everybody he fights is just standing there pretty much, right? Pedro Munoz, Douglas Silva de Andrade, Matt Schnell,
Cody.
John Lineker, all of them. Every single fighter Rob Font fights. So I think that was really smart by Corey. He said he didn't really want to stand there and strike with him. At least he admitted, Corey Sandhagen gets a lot of shit, but he does not lie to you. He's not somebody that's like, you know what, I almost finished Rob Font. There's fighters who say shit like that. We're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I love his honesty. I love his brutalness. And he's like, I don't even know how this elbow injury happened. And you're looking at it and you're like, dude, what the fuck? That can't be good. His ligament, something popped and his elbow is just huge. Something isn't right there. So I kind of want to give him credit. I've always thought that he's kind of I don't know, his excitingness as a fighter was always a little bit overstated. I thought, I thought he was fun and awesome and everything. The flying knee over Frankie was kind of just like a layup, So was the Marlon Moraes fight, and 2 guys that were completely cooked. But I don't know, man. Again, there's not really much to take out of this fight. Like I said, Rob Font was 9 of 49. Significant strikes landed. 25 total strikes.
25
one
minutes.
Fight, one total strike per minute.
Yeah.
Just, brutal. Second round, he didn't land a strike at all, significant strike at all, and same thing with round 5. So, what more can you say?
Yeah, and Sandhagen, like you said, I respect that at least, that he's not a guy who, after the fight, we've seen, Paddy Pimblett and guys who really, it turns you off as a fan where you're like, dude,
absolutely.
We just watched that fight. He knows, he's like, I really didn't want it to go down like that, but I kind of had to, you people will see, I think they were booing him. He's like, yeah, I'd probably boo me too. That fight was probably boring as shit.
It's funny because they'll boo anybody as long if there's a stall against the cage. It could be Fedor and John Jones. They're booing you for if you're against the cage hugging each other for 3 seconds, 5 seconds. They're gonna start booing. It's just, especially by the main event, they're all headed. So
and you know how that is when you're at the arena.
I wouldn't take it personal. I was hammered when I got there.
Yeah, exactly.
The one time I went. So, dude, before the first card of that Philly card started, there was a kid getting escorted out by his friends. He couldn't even stand. I'm like, bro, it's 6.
Yeah. Dude, that's what I'm saying. That was
Kevin
an afternoon card.
Hasn't even taken the cage yet.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
So that's why I at least I will give the benefit of the doubt to Corey Sandhagen, because he could have very easily, pulled out of. I don't even know. I think he heard it. He said he heard it in the fight, but he could have, I don't know, just withered away and kind of just not, basically gotten beat up on the feet by Rob Font, or kind of just been like, wow, I can't even lift my left arm, and shit could have not gone his way, but it,
he did what it took to win.
He persevered.
10-3 in the UFC. That's, no matter how you cut it.
And you said,
pretty damn good.
Maybe his excitement factor has been overstated, and I think that's probably a factor in this, but that's not really his fault. It's just he just fights the way he fights, and that's how other people perceive him. as being exciting or not. He's always going to be at that upper level of that 135 division. He's a problem for a lot of those guys, no matter who he's fighting. Even a potential future Aljamain Sterling battle, he still is not even though the first fight was easy, I don't see it happening like that exactly again. So
he's improved so much since then,
exactly.
So, and Aljo's always getting surgery, so.
And I don't know if they updated the rankings or not, but he's at 4
probably
still,
not.
So probably not. But you could see him with anyone in that top 5-10 area. He could even run back a Peter Yan fight if they really wanted to do that at some point. But it's kind of he's going to be out for a while anyway. He's got a surgery scheduled for a full tricep tear, I believe.
Jesus.
So I wish him the best. Rob Font kind of just hangs out there. He's still in that top 10. It's just going to be a matchup situation with him. It depends on who they put him in there with. Preferably for him, someone who doesn't really grapple that much. I'd like to see him.
Getting old though, 36.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd like to see him somewhat in there. I really don't know I think he has to fight down now. In the rankings, I would say. So I mean, Dominic Cruz is still just chilling there. So I don't know if that would be something fun. Somewhat of a not an easy matchup, but kind of guys on similar paths, towards the later half of their career. You don't want to have these guys fighting Ricky Simones and Jonathan Martinez, and he did just
Give him
beat
Cody
up
again.
Yeah, but Cody's
Run
cooked.
back. See if you can knock him out this time.
What is Cody fighting at now? Is he still at 35?
He's fighting in Boston. Yeah.
Who's he fighting?
I think so. He's is Bautista at 125? I think Mario Bautista's a flyweight now.
No, he's at 35 because Sandhagen beat him.
Yeah.
Sandhagen armbarred him or something back in the day. But,
yeah.
Listen, good win for Sandhagen. I'm excited to see. But it's really just a lot is going to have to depend on what happens in that O'Malley-Sterling fight, because he could very easily be, one of the first title defenses in a world where he's healthy, I should say, because we don't know how long he's going to be out. But if he was healthy, he could be the first guy to get a title shot off of, it not being Sterling, In theory, he probably gets a rematch, depending on how the fight goes, unless he gets absolutely sparked. But, So, Tatiana Suarez, how about that, man? 115. Her last fight was at 125, right? She said, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm going back down to 115, which is her original weight class. And she looked better this time than she did last time. You could tell, the ring rust was a little bit of a factor last time. She had to wade her way into the deeper waters, and then she kind of got that guillotine. This fight, I feel like she just looked good from the jump and was just, just imposing her will on Jessica Andrade. And it's just, she's so big for 115, and she looked like she was in great shape. The wrestling was on point. She looked great, man.
Yeah, how about that guillotine? I was kind of nervous because I think she had something in before that. I could be wrong. I thought she had another. No, maybe not. But I was like, man, if she's on the ground, she could. You never know. I still have some questions about her striking defense or striking in general.
Oh, yeah.
But she could probably beat. How many different girls? My dream matchup would be her and Erin Blanchfield at 125. But I think Tatiana's settling in nicely at 115 now. It looks like if she has any weight problems, though, I think you got to send her ass back to 125. I think that happened before to her. But I can't really remember correctly. So, where's she at now? 4th? I guess they moved her up 6 spots after that win, unless that's not updated. But, yeah, she probably fights for the title soon, or if she fights Jan, that would be, now you give her any of these top 5 matchups, and you really get to see how great she can be, right? It's been talked about for so long. She's been through fucking a lot. Too much. She had cancer. She's had ACL surgeries. So... this is her time, honestly. This is her time. How old is she? I think she's 30-something, right?
Who, Tatiana? I believe she is 30.
She's 32. That's not bad. That's not bad. She still has, time to really refine her game, improve a little bit. She's got one of the best in the world in her boyfriend. Is Apache Mix, right?
I think so. And it's amazing, bro, that she took, 4 years off with that whole neck and, back injury, and she's still, you can argue, in the prime of her career. So it's
crazy.
The sky is the limit.
And had cancer.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. But she looks so good on Saturday night. And, really, it's
Jessica Andrade did not.
No. And, it's unfortunate with Jessica because she's just kind of there now. She was the champ. She kind of, in a sense, won in a fluky way, and then she got beat right away. But she's kind of gone on a little bit of a real rough run here with, Blanchfield, Yan Xiaonan, which she's no slouch. She has definitely advanced her game in recent years. And then this Tatiana Suarez loss. It's just she doesn't really have a weight class that she likes and wants to be at a consistent basis. She bounces back and forth, and she's not exactly. How old is she? She's only 31. She's one of those people that just seems like she's so old, but she's just younger than Tatiana, which is unbelievable. But I don't know. I really don't know what's next for her. To not be mean, but I don't care. It's just she's just there. She's a filler on all these cards, it seems. But
yeah, she'll beat some of these top 10 girls,
mid-ranking girls. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like a Jennifer Maya, or I don't even know if she'd beat Macy Barber probably. But Lauren Murphy, I mean, she'd beat the shit out of Lauren Murphy. Marina Rodriguez, what I mean, but she's not going to be like Jan, Tatiana, and her Blanchfield are all top 4 in the respective weight classes. So, and she's right. She's 6 in both. So that pretty much shows you where she's at.
They'll have to figure something out with Carla Esparza soon too, because she's just. Does she have a fight? I don't think so. But she's just there. She's number 1 in the rankings. So it's like, what do you do there? And Wei Li, who's Wei Li fighting? Lemos,
yeah.
When is that? That's
in Boston?
That's Boston, right? I knew it was coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that'll provide some clarity there.
Well, that'll be exciting. That's an awesome fight, dude. That's just a great matchmaking sort of fun firefight.
Lemos might get her. I don't know.
She might. I mean, Lemos can get anybody. She's huge, but if my early prediction is that she gets taken down and just probably smashed, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But how about Dustin Jacoby? This is a guy I've been a fan of since he came back onto the UFC scene. But I'm obviously a big fan of Kennedy, and Kennedy just kind of got overwhelmed here. And Dustin's a big guy, man. He throws hard. He throws clean shots, and he just caught Kennedy, and just a bad night for Mr. Njoku.
Yeah, man. Being a slow starter is really. I think we talked about it before. It's going to really fuck him one time. And,
it did.
It did here. I mean, what did you think of the stoppage? I want to ask.
I thought it was Gary a little early on, but
Mr. Gary Copeland.
Yeah, absolute juice cake. Calling that fight a little bit early, but
I thought Kennedy honestly was probably going to get put the fuck to sleep.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it's like I didn't think he was going to bounce back. Like, although it may have been early, you just saved that guy from permanent damage, maybe. So I think that is a good stoppage, but you can't get hurt like that early on, and he wasn't really defending himself properly. Just a good win for Dustin Jacoby, man. He needed something like this, like a highlight reel sort of on not a huge card, but in front of the people, He's coming off 2 losses that were really kind of quite like the Mirzakhanov. He got beat, but it was just kind of a wrestle fest. The Khalil Roundtree was definitely a questionable one, if I remember correctly, and it's not good to lose to Khalil Roundtree. But
he's fighting this weekend.
Is he really?
First time in fucking forever.
Who's he fighting?
Chris Dawkins, I think.
Oh man! All right, let's get it going, baby. Let's fucking go. We're doing that at 205? Or are we doing that at heavyweight?
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
we're doing that at 205.
So we lost some blubber, is what you're telling me, for Chris Dawkins, but I'm not going to
Kyle was the heavyweight, I believe, right?
No, Chris is the heavyweight.
Okay.
Chris is the one getting put to sleep back-to-back times.
Well, yeah, this is at 205, so I believe the move down to light heavyweight, similar to Tanner Bozier, is not going to work in the long term, but unlike Tanner Bozier,
Tanner Bozier
just got knocked out in like 20 seconds. Yeah, I mean,
He put. We're going to get to that, but he put the beats on Alexa Kammer. But before we get to that, we got to talk about Diego Lopez. Now, Diego Lopez came onto the UFC with a big time, not even a win, but just a performance against Movsar Evloev, where he had Evloev in trouble a couple of times, and I thought he could have maybe gotten a card on that, on the decision. You know what I mean, like a split decision sort of thing. It was a really much closer fight than a unanimous decision would have told you if you just read it and never thought about it. You thought, oh, he got dominated. Not really. Like, he was threatening a lot of submissions. He almost took Evloev's ACL with him. Like, Diego Lopez has some nasty, nasty submissions, and you saw his grappling acumen on Saturday night. He dominated Mr. Tucker with that just minute 38 triangle arm bar where he just was wrapped that shit up, and he just had him however he wanted it. He was either going to choke you out with the arm bar, or I'm choke you out with the triangle, or break your fucking arm. And he got the tap before any of that had to happen, and that was the win for Diego Lopez. I'd love to see who they match him up with, or who he fights next, because I'm firing that bet. I'm firing that sub or that inside the distance every time. He goes for it, man.
Sub here was the easy play.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got. A lot of people were on Gavin Tucker, man. I was like, he's 37. He hasn't fought in a couple years. I don't know. Zero total strikes landed in this fight. How about that? 0 for 10 combined, 1 takedown, 3 sub attempts. I mean, quick work. I mean, the transition, as soon as he had that, like you said, when he fought Evloev, that was on short notice, and he had that arm bar in round 1, he had a Kimura in round 3, he had a knee bar in round 3. Like, multiple times he had something in, and there was multiple times Mozart Evloev's face was grimacing in pain. Like, he didn't escape that fight 100%. And when he fought Joe Anderson Brito on the Contender Series, he had an arm bar in the first round. He had a guillotine in the second round. And he lost, but he also got eye poked, to the skull in the third round. So,
yeah,
two also tough guys to fight. Joe Anderson Brito's a fucking hammer. We've seen that. And, man, Gavin Tucker just was like, he's, good at everything, and he's a black belt, but just became a black belt. Diego Lopez is, I'm pretty sure he's Alexa Grasso's jiu-jitsu coach. And you saw what she did to Valentina Shevchenko, right? So I think this kid's legit. He definitely looks to hurt you with his hands. He's just, he gets hit a lot. And I think he also slows down a little bit, especially standing up. So definitely something to work on, but just another banger, I think, prospect at featherweight, honestly.
Yeah. He's going to be tough to get out of there no matter, like you just said, like Evloev, he's no joke. He's absolutely the cream of the crop at 45. He, whether he's ranked that high or not, he will be on that level
Burrito
soon.
As well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, that's no easy feat to be hanging around with guys like that, and he did more than hang around with Evloev. So how about, dude, I had people that don't even really watch the UFC talking about Alexa Kammer getting his face beat in. Like Tanner Boser put the beats on him, man, bad. And I didn't have real confidence in this, but this was the one I wanted to really play. Our plays were on the online this week since we didn't have a pod. We had a little scheduling issue last week. Me personally, something came up on Friday. I had to,
I've been having scheduling issues, which is weird.
Hey man, well, if someone wants to pay us to do this, we could quit our jobs and do this. But
absolutely,
we have to work. So unfortunately, it's hard to schedule it around our jobs. But yeah, listen, Tanner Boser, he is a big 205 guy. And Alexa Kammer is really just, although they golden gloves, they like to say that multiple times when he's fighting. He's green though, dude. He's 6-3 now. He's fighting a guy who's fought 31 times. That's just a tough night out. And it just it showed it throughout the fight. It was just really a dominant performance by Tanner Boser.
Yeah, man. Over 2.5 was -140. Easy work.
That's right. You cashed
I figured
that
this
out.
was going to decision. Yeah, Alexa Kammer, I feel like had a lot of opportunities. He didn't throw his right hand at all. I thought he had like a big right hook. Like that was a thing he could use. He just, he's very green and, taking time off, it doesn't look like he's really improved much. So, training with Stipe, and maybe that's not the best training camp over there. I don't know. We'll see when John Jones makes short work of Mr. Stipe coming up. But yeah,
yeah, no, sorry, not to cut you off, but it doesn't seem like the focus is really on Alexa Kammer over there. It seemed like we're really worried about Stipe's 40-year-old body.
I guess not. Also, Alexa Kammer had, I think, nerve damage or a degenerative nerve somewhere in one of his elbows. So
that's not good.
Not good. No. Not good. Also, coming up for this weekend, we'll talk about one of the guys in the main event having a significant injury that happened recently that really gives you some cause for concern, but.
Yeah, didn't need a reason to fade him, but spoiler alert, guys, we're betting RDA this weekend more than likely.
Yeah, we are.
So to get your picks in now if you want, but we will have more on that on Friday. How about Ludwig Klein? He's usually on the fade list, and I had Bahamondes in this, but he looked good.
Yeah, man, parlay buster. God damn it! I had I had Ludovic or Ignacio. I had Jake Hadley. both of them in multiple parlays, and they both fucked me. I was really upset, honestly, by both their performances. I thought Bahamondes' takedown defense has been getting better, but 3 of 5 for Klein. He, pretty much got him whenever he wanted. Also, Bahamondes only landed 30% of his significant strikes, landed like 30% of his total strikes. He just didn't look that good. I think I don't know what it was.
Too easily too.
He gets hit easily. It looks like some fights he has no cardio at all, and this fight he didn't look like he conserved his energy very well. So I don't know, man. It's definitely a fight that's going to set him back. I mean, he started out slow, and then he had a decent second round. I think he won the second round, right? He didn't get taken down. I know he did. First round, I don't think he got taken down necessarily, but he got controlled for almost half the round in each round. So definitely something to work on. Again, he's still super young, so I guess he's got that going for him. But I don't know what his ceiling necessarily is, if you will.
Yeah, I just this is another one. Doesn't really do much for me in general. I thought this fight was kind of boring. It was on, but it was kind of tuned out. So that's why I truly don't have much to say about it. I just realized my Bahamondes bet was not going to hit, and I said, all right, well, that's good. Of course. The one time I bet him he's going to get just fucking wrestle fucked, and it's he's not going to be able to even get close to not only not win the fight, but not even get close to an inside the distance. So
nothing.
Kyler Phillips, he looked good in his. I believe this is return, right? When's the last time he fought?
I think since he lost to
year and a half ago. He won. He beat Marcelo Rojo. He did fight.
Right.
He fought
the setup fight.
Yeah, of course. They had to get him bounced back after he lost to Paiva with a majority decision, which was I remember.
He's always in close fights, man. Even this one was like I think he won and like he had that knockdown and he outstruck him. But even this fight got a little close. Like Barcelos was landing some good shots. Like they were kind of going back and forth ish. I won't say it was like a 2-to-1 ratio, but he almost outstruck him 2-to-1 ish. Still though, I mean, I don't know, man. He
didn't look great, I'd say.
He throws a lot of spinny shit. He has such a good like solid striking game that you feel like his percentages should be higher. Only 38% in this fight. He did get a takedown, but he got taken down 3 times. Not controlled for long, but still he loses moments. He loses minutes. Like he'll win 2 minutes, but then he'll lose the next minute and a half. So it's weird, man. They're both honestly solid fighters. The thing with Barcelos is just old. If he was like 5-6 years younger, I'd feel a lot much more confident. But some of the recent knockouts, he got knocked down in this fight quick. He was able to survive, but Kyler Phillips, should have just let him up.
Yeah.
But Kyler Phillips' fight IQ is very suspect, and it's really something that hasn't improved much. I know he's like our age, so it's kind of crazy how young he still is. He's like, what, 6-1 in the UFC?
Yep.
So, but he had some layups before he fought Holly and Paiva. And then every fight up until Song Yadong, or past Song Yadong, has been very close. Even that Rojo fight, he was winning and he finished him, but it went to the 3rd round. So
that Holly and Paiva fight was like that was a wild fight, right? He was up and he kind of like let him come back in it. I'm pretty sure was that?
Yeah, I think he had him dead in the first round. I believe I bet on
gassed out or something.
Actually. Yeah, I had him in the first round. He had him pretty much dead, and then he just got second round. He was cooked. I was like, oh, okay. That's when Corey Sandhagen fought TJ. I remember betting on him, and somehow after looking minus 1,000 round 1, he lost. So, he's just a weird fighter to get a grasp on. He hits. He has really good striking. He does a lot of good things, but fight IQ is just really just bad sometimes. I think his takedown defense is still a work in progress, even though he gets takedowns. He's just very athletic, and I think that kind of carries him a lot.
It does, but it's just like you said that you get to a certain level though in the UFC where there's other guys are just as athletic as you, and you run into a guy. Yeah, you run into a guy who has just the same sort of athletic skill as you. It comes down to your technique and your IQ, which you mentioned is sometimes a problem with him, where he just gives minutes away, gives rounds away, and it lends itself to become a problem. So.
Barcelos wasn't 57 years old,
Yeah, he doesn't really take a shot well. He got cracked early on in this fight, and it kind of set him back for the rest of the night. But I like to see Kyler Phillips get in there again pretty soon. I don't want to see another long layoff. I know he had a little bit of a situation going on with this last time, but
give him Cody.
Give him Cody. Give him somebody. I mean, anybody, honestly. I'd just like to see him get more reps in there and just kind of not take this time off, and then we're talking about his IQ again. The only way you raise your IQ in these fights is you fight more and you get more chances at it, and you continually get better.
Still only 13 fights, honestly. I feel like he's been around
like,
for forever. But, he's still pretty young, and I don't think he had a long regional career. So, yeah. I mean, I don't see why he couldn't become, I don't know. I don't want to say a Sean O'Malley ceiling. I think Sean O'Malley definitely has some more gifts, but yeah, a little bit a lesser
in that
version of him,
neighborhood,
maybe.
though. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
How about Carlston Harris pulling off the Anaconda choke after
Nasty.
being in 70 submissions for the first 2 rounds? He put Jeremiah Wells to sleep. This really hurt because I had Wells submission plus like 700, dude. I thought this was a fucking lock. Not that I didn't not going into it, but like it was when the fight was happening. I'm like, oh yeah, like he had a couple Darces locked in. He almost had a guillotine. Like he had a couple of these chokes and he just kind of couldn't get them. Man, Carlston Harris kept fighting his way out of them. And respect to Carlston Harris. He never gave up. He never quit in this one, and he, eventually persevered, got that Anaconda choke in that 3rd round, and he had to go through the fire to get this one. So it's a good win for him.
Yeah, man. He was doing really well, and then he made one critical mistake. He forgot that Carlston Harris has some of the best front chokes in the UFC.
Yeah,
like in total. Like when he's been Darson and Anaconda peopling his pretty much his whole career. It's like what he does. I know they weren't good fighters, but Christian Aguilera, I remember he anaconda him, and that was that guy couldn't get it. There was nothing he could do. He was in that bitch, and he was going to die. That's pretty much what it was. Like this guy has a nasty grip. He has such long arms and such a long body that it's kind of hard to like get out of it. Like if he has it in tight enough, you're done.
Yeah.
You're just done. You're just done. Especially in the 3rd round when you're tired, when you're just. Man, he just dove into it. It looked like he forgot all about what he was doing. I mean, he had that fight won, I thought. But yeah, almost like 9.5 minutes of control and still lost. Definitely a fucking gut punch. They're both old, both 36, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, big win for Mozambique.
Jeremiah Wells has some
Great
nasty
nickname,
grappling and submissions and stuff. It just really, this is a big
It's not
time.
fully refined.
No, it's not.
Think.
It's not. It obviously isn't because he had him in some vicarious positions and it just didn't work
couldn't
out.
get it.
Yeah. Really precarious was the word I was looking for, by the way. That just
I like
struck
that word.
into my head. Yeah, I was like, ah, shit. I said vicarious, but it's definitely precarious. So,
Same thing.
Got to correct myself there. How about Billy Q with a unanimous decision victory over Damon Jackson? I saw some people online saying that Damon Jackson should have won this fight or that, it was a robbery or something. Like, it was a close fight, but I thought Billy Q did enough to win this, and I don't think
2 and 3 I thought were easy. Like round 1, I thought maybe he I thought he did lose, but
yeah,
I mean, dude, 2 and 3 he almost like tripled him up.
Yeah, that's what I saw people like him having to like tweet out like fucking pictures of the strikes and all. I'm like, I don't like when fighters do that. Just take your. I get like when people are just tweeting you nonstop, like, "Hey, you fucking robbed them." You're like, "Wait, dude, what are you talking about, bro?" Like,
yeah, and that was not even like I don't even know how you could come to that conclusion, honestly.
Yeah, that's because there's a lot of people that watch this shit who just bet on it, and they're like, well, he took him down, or he leaned him up against a fence. It's like, dude, and I get some people really just don't know what the judges are supposed to be looking at, because not only do we not know, the judges don't know.
Dominic Cruz doesn't, or Daniel Cormier doesn't. Michael Bisping had I didn't hear much. Like, there was a lot of this I didn't listen to fully, and I have to go back and rewatch some moments of some of these fights. But Michael Bisping is brutal. He is brutal. I think he might be the worst one.
Yeah, put him on the desk. Put him on the desk, man. It's
switch him out for Chael Sonnen. Boom.
Yeah, how about Chael showing up for the stare off between Jake Paul and fucking?
I was like, what
Nate
the hell is he
Diaz.
doing?
Yeah,
he just pops up randomly. I'm like, oh, okay, Chael's here now.
Yeah,
it's a party.
How about Cody Durden with a? You talked about this, a unanimous decision victory over Jake Hadley. You were very disappointed in Jake Hadley's sort of performance. Cody Durden just did what he does usually, just dominant wrestling. Anytime you see that USA Wrestling tattoo on a guy, you should be a little concerned as to how this one's going to go. And you see that on Cody Durden. Cody Durden brings this kind of fight every single time he fights. And I guess it's time for me to stop fading him. Because he does it every single time, and he's dominating people.
He's done really well. It's 4 in a row now since he lost to Makayev. And again, the Makayev loss. Nothing wrong with that. The Jimmy Flick flying arm triangle, whatever that was. That was just a lucky. I mean, he was beating him.
It's basically like getting caught in a fucking by a punch. Like, that was the craziest thing I ever seen.
And he had a draw with Chris Gutierrez, who I feel like is a lot bigger than him, even though he might not be. Like, that was way back in the day. He's looked a lot better, man. I mean, the Charles Johnson fight, I think that surprised a lot of people, not me. I thought he was going to beat him. I didn't think he was going to take him down 11 times, though. The Carlos Mota fight, I think a lot of people gave him shit because he didn't finish a guy that he's much better than. And obviously, the JP Bays fight, whew, poor guy. I mean, he's got a fight this weekend that I don't think is going to go his way either. So that should be he's taking some L's lately. How about that?
Shout out to Cheyenne Velismus, who has really sent him down into a turn, into a tailspin, I would say.
But he's looking for his revenge. He said, I will be there no matter what when Cheyenne Velismus gets head kick knocked out. So it could happen. He said he'll be there no matter what. That's what he told me. But, yeah, gets this win over a guy that I thought Jake Hadley had all his bases covered in this fight. I thought he was going to, if it stayed standing, he was going to outstrike him easily. I thought if it went into the later rounds, he was going to have much more in the gas tank. I thought if it went to the ground, he'd be able to catch him in a triangle or an armbar, but he tried and it did not work. It didn't come close ever.
No.
So it sucks. We talk about this all the time. It sucks to have had so much confidence in a guy coming into a fight, and then after the fight, he tweets, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, I almost died making weight this fight." So that wasn't the greatest thing to hear.
Are you fucking kidding? Like,
word for word said he almost died. So
yeah, you feel like such a douchebag after you bet that, and then you watch the fight, and then you see that tweet. You're like, all right, so I don't care who he's. I don't care if he's fighting fucking Barney, or if I'm one of the Teletubbies. I'm not betting him. It's not happening. So Hadley on the DMB.
I don't want to put him there. I don't want to put him on the 1 year DMB list. After he smoked Malcolm Gordon in a minute, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. My inside the distance hit quicker than I thought, and he triangled Carlos Candelario. It looked great in that fight, broke him down. But I think Cody Durden's a little underrated, honestly, and I think maybe Jake Hadley was a little overrated. I don't want to make too much of a fight where a guy almost died making weight, but that's the game, and hopefully he can just bounce back better. Hopefully he doesn't die anymore. Keep that to a minimum, because I do think he has some potential. He's 27, 26. I don't love his nickname, but some things to work on for Jake Hadley for sure. You always know those Brits come with a little too much hype.
Well, we need to get that weight in check. That's a big thing. No, seriously, like if
let's try that. Move up. Honestly, he's kind of big for flyweight.
He is, but I mean, I don't know. Like the wrestling was a little bit of a problem here too. It just, I get Cody Durden, that's his thing, but he was getting taken down a few times that. He just shouldn't. I don't know. Do
you think he would have beat Tajir if they would have fought? Mr. Ulanbekov? 3 Russians pulled out in this card, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. I don't think Ulanbekov's that good, but
yeah.
I mean, it definitely could have played out similarly. I guess if he was going to die on the scale anyway, then it would have played out the same way, right?
I mean,
who knows,
who
right?
knows?
Yeah. So. How about Sean Woodson, who had like 7 different opponents going into this one? Shout out to Steve Garcia,
crazy.
Jesse Butler, Marion Santos. Now he finally got Dennis Bukaki. How do you say that guy's name?
Bazooka.
All right, yeah, that's probably not it either, but close enough. But unanimous decision victory. Woodson always kind of fights like this. He's really going to have to get lucky to get these finishes. I have to stop betting him inside the distance. You texted me that during Saturday night, like, yeah, the decision was a lock here. It's like, yeah, like looking back, of course it was. He kept trying to grapple with him, though.
That's the thing. Sean Woodson's, like, what do we say? Not very smart.
Yeah.
Also, isn't he the guy that twerks?
No, that's Jordan Levitt.
That's right.
Both light-skinned gentlemen. Yeah.
Both tall, skinny, light-skinned. Okay. With awkward body builds.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, he has pretty good strike. I like his boxing a little bit, but like, he hasn't finished really. I know he finished Colin Anglin, but I mean, let's be real about Colin Anglin. He had a draw with Saldana. He had a split with Yusuf Zalal. So like, I've never really known about him. He couldn't finish Bokniak. The McKinney flying knee. I think that just says more about what Terrence McKinney is after the first round. But yeah, I don't want to say I was too surprised, but I didn't think this Dennis guy.
He should have finished.
I don't think he's that good. He lost what? But he had 2 contender series fights, and they both sucked. I mean, he got beat easily by Melsick. There's nothing wrong with that. And then he lost. He beat that guy Calio Romero, and that fight sucked. I remember that. I was like, damn, they feel bad. They didn't even give him a contract. They gave him 3 layups on the regional scene, and he finished 2 of them. And then they're like, fuck, we We've had 15 pullouts in this one fight. Do you want to step up?
Yeah.
Apparently, he lost 25 pounds in 3 days. That's what I think John Anik or some fighter tweeted. So, I mean, shout out to him. But, yeah, he didn't win this fight. He's definitely going to get another chance.
Yeah.
So there's that. I don't think he's the worst. He's only 25. I didn't realize he was that.
No, he's not horrible. It's just, you know.
He trains with Longo and Weidman MMA. What happened to Matt Serra? Replace him?
Yeah, you would really. We kind of had talked about this. You don't really see a lot of Matt Serra, and you know what's his name? Sterling took him out of the corner basically. I don't know what the beef is going on there. I don't know if he just kind of stepped away from being.
Anytime there's two guys in charge like Jackson Wink, you always knew that was going to go downhill. So
there's always like some people who like the one guy more, or one guy who wants to be more in control. It's just it's tough doing a.
I'm guessing Weidman's a good coach. I would venture to say.
I would say so too. He seems like that kind of guy, but what do we know? I've never had him coach me in a fight, so I guess who knows? But how about Asul Amabayev taking out Odi Osborne with a rear naked choke, pretty much midway through this fight, 8-11 into the second round, 3-11 into the second round, but 8-11 into the fight. Amabayev was making his UFC debut. It's always good to get another gentleman from Kazakhstan in there.
Very nice.
Yeah, and he looked dominant in this, and this kind of...
He's nasty. He's good, dude.
He is good. He was.
I like this guy.
He's a beast. He's a little fucking tank, and he just, he's going to be tough to... Like, if Almabayev would have fought Hadley, he'd have beat the shit out of him. He would have just fucking wrestle-fucked him and just done the exact same thing, I would assume. So, I'd like to see this guy fight again.
Yeah, he's a little small, so I think that might limit him. He's like 5'4", 65-inch reach.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out what his nickname means.
Yeah, what is that?
The Spine Splitter?
Are you serious?
It's Zulfikar. And apparently there's a Zulfikar is a sword. Yeah, I'm not sure. It sounds kind of scary. Watching his regional scene, it seemed like he fought like good fighters, before he got to the UFC. That's something you don't see like much ever from somebody from Kazakhstan, right? Or anybody, a lot of part of that world. A lot of guys. I mean, he fought Tajir Bekov way back in the day. He lost, but to fight him that long ago, you had to have learned a lot. And even some of the guys he fought in Brave CF a lot. Guys over there aren't that bad at all. He fought a guy named Zach Makovsky. He was in the UFC, I believe, a while ago for sure. But I think 2013 maybe.
Jesus.
Yeah. He fought Formiga. He beat Tim Elliott. So it was a pretty decent opponent. I know he was 40, but pretty decent opponent for him to fight before getting to the UFC. And he looked just way better than Ode Osborne. He was plus 300 to win by sub. Cash that ticket out. Turn me up. Ode Osborne, I think he is what he is, right? He can probably style.
He was who he was. Shout out to
style on some lower guys that aren't that good, like Zaruk Adashev, for instance, Jerome Rivera, CJ Vergara. These are his wins. So he's just a low level striker. I think that you can knock him out, you can choke him out, you can his holes are pretty.
His holes are open. His holes are open, brother. How about Tatiana Suarez getting 50,000 for performance of the night? Dustin Jacoby getting 50,000. Diego Lopez getting 50,000. Carlson Harris getting 50,000. Almabayev getting 50,000. It's amazing. Yeah, Dana was feeling real fucking generous this week. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about how they gave the shittiest fights, like fight of the night, and then they gave one other bonus out, and that's it. They were giving money out like fucking the Monopoly man this weekend. But shout out to those guys. I'll never hate on some of these guys getting some money, and
Yeah, there was no fight of the night for sure, but I'm glad they did give out 5 performance bonuses because they were all good. So,
how about the problem child? Were you tuned in? Were you locked in on this one?
I wasn't locked in, but I was tuned in. I will say it wasn't that bad. I've always been my whole life. I've always been a Nate Diaz hater. I've just never really cared about the guy. He doesn't even give it his all. How could you love somebody so much that doesn't try for half his career? First 3 rounds he did nothing. 4th round you're like, yo, what the fuck? Nate Diaz looks good in the 4th round, and then stop giving a fuck again. I don't know, man. Jake Paul looked good in later rounds. I think his cardio looks better than it did. I think he might be making some slight adjustments and improvements. It's just very minor. in my opinion. It's not somebody I can really say, yeah, in 6 years I could see him boxing actual boxers that are, not great, but maybe once upon a time they fought for a WBO cruiserweight championship. I really doubt it. I think what he should do is this: fight Nate Diaz, fight Ben Askren again. Why not? If he's going to go into MMA, that's a lot of respect I'd have to give him, because so many people have so much like unwarranted criticism for him. I get not liking him. That's fine. I get not thinking he's that good. That's also fine. But like, to be like, oh my God, he doesn't fight real boxers. Like, he's not a real boxer. Why would you expect him to fight Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you expect him to fight some of these other guys? He just fought Tommy Fury and lost to him. And that guy's,
And it was close.
It was very close. And that guy's not a legit boxer, but he has a 7-0 pro record or whatever it is. He's, related to Tyson Fury. He's been training his whole entire life. Like, that's not that much of a layup. I think he's just kind of off. He's just not Tyson Fury. But, yeah, I think Jake should probably, continue to do this. Logan Paul's fighting Dylan Dennis next. That's going to be awesome.
Who cares?
We
right?
get to see Dylan Dennis gets absolutely walked over. Because I remember he made his Bellator debut, and he was getting beat up by this guy who was like 0-2.
Yeah, he got beat up by a garbage man. You're like, oh boy. And then he took him down.
Yeah.
And he got taken down at a fucking Seaside Heights bar out in the streets, and was a rear naked choked into submission. So let's just say the stock on Dylan has gone down big time since his days hanging out with Conor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jake should probably keep. I don't know, what KSI. I would like to see him fight KSI. KSI is kind of a joke. He fights wild, like swings wildly, but he has some power, and he's somebody that trains a lot. And it's like a big name, I guess. I still don't really know who he is. I'm not in tune. I don't have my finger on the FIFA pulse on Twitch, because I think that's how he got famous. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't Jake Paul beat the shit out of his brother, KSI's brother? Did that happen? Am I thinking of somebody else?
Think so.
Or maybe Logan Paul beat his brother?
Something like that.
He has a brother.
Yeah.
And he boxes too. Everybody's boxing. So,
I mean, a lot of this I don't care about. Let me just say that ahead of time. It's just, it's something that was on. I had to watch it, so I watched it. You're not going to hold a gun to my head. Like, it was perfect timing. It was right after the Sandhagen fight. It was after, as I said before, I was watching SummerSlam. It was after SummerSlam. Could lock in on this. Like you said, Nate Diaz puts a show on, but at the same time, it's like
terrible.
Nick. He leaves you like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't
Nick
you?
Diaz laid down when he fought Anderson Silva after getting absolutely thoroughly dominated, and everyone's like, "This is so cool. He's so cool." Like, no, dude, he's a joke. He's a loser. He's losing, and he puts on a show to kind of distract from his awful performance, just like Nate. Nate landed 8 jabs in this entire fight. He's supposed to be this guy that has this great boxing. He's old and gets hit a lot. He's a great boxer. My ass, he was never a great boxer.
No.
He could throw some. He 1-2'd Conor when Conor was cooked, and he 1-2'd Leon Edwards when Leon Edwards was really tired. They were both really tired. He landed 2 nice 1-2s in his career, and people want to say he's this amazing boxer. And then Jake Paul completely outclasses him pretty much in almost every round. He won like 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, that fourth round, and then there was another round in the late end where he kind of, maybe the 7th or the 8th, where it was like, like Jake Paul's gassing, and then Jake came out the next round and like dominated him. So you're like, oh, okay, that's done.
Everyone thought after the first round he was going to just let Jake blow his load, and then he was going to come back strong. It's always if there was another round, or if there was, if there was no time clock, if there's no time at all, Nate's going to win. Like, yeah, no shit. But that's not really how this is. Not the gladiator days.
And I think, was it Sean Porter that was one of the announcers on this?
I'm not sure.
If it was, I think it was, but he said something like, I've heard that Nate Diaz is the king of winning the like moral victory, and I was like, that is exactly the truth, because he puts those like little moments together. And I mean, we're not even having talked about the fact that Nate Diaz almost ended up like Bernard Hopkins in the middle of this fight, and almost went through he's out the ring. Like he got hit pretty hard, dude. And
first round was, it was looking rough.
Yeah, I thought it was over pretty quick. And Nate obviously did that thing where he just continually kept walking forward, and Jake was fighting backwards. He does win those kind of moral victories in that sense, where it's like, oh, he was trying to chase him down, he was whatever. But And then he tried to lock the guillotine in there with like 20 seconds left in the fight.
That was funny, but
that was funny. But exactly,
it's just that's what
freak
he does.
show shit. He's perfect for this, though. He's
perfect.
He's joining the freak show, and that's what I
Apparently
said.
He's come back to the UFC, so that should be fun.
Yeah, to fight who? Connor? That's pretty much it. Like that's the only person that any of us want to see him fight. Him and his brother always want to fight the best. Nick saying he's going to fight one of these guys. It's like, guys,
yeah, I would love
you
that.
had a great run. There's nothing wrong with it. Like Nick had some great moments in Strikeforce. Not so much. I mean, he had his moments in the UFC, but Strikeforce is mainly those Paul Daly fights and like that. They had their moments, man, but like I encourage them. I know the money's big, but try not to get involved in these freak shows, man. That's just.
I mean, listen. I guess if you want to get paid, right? What if somebody offers Cowboy or Robbie Lawler 25 or 15 or 20 million? Everybody, yeah. I wasn't making that in the UFC, you know what I mean? But
I don't blame them, but it's just you have to know what you're getting into.
This whole card was just full of mismatches. That's literally what it was. Everybody got dominated. Like
Serrano beat the shit out of Heather Hardy. Yeah, I watched that.
She beat the brakes off of Heather Hardy. I mean, jeez. Did they fight before and it was like a good fight like a while ago, a couple years ago?
I know they have fought before, I think.
Either way, this one was one-sided. Heather Greg Hardy got absolutely smoked. At least she went the distance, right? She also fought in MMA. She lost to a 3-5 chick, so there's that.
I remember that.
And she also lost Christina Williams. That name sounds very familiar. Oh yeah, she fought Ketlin Souza on Invicta recently.
Warhorse.
But yeah, I remember she fought somebody else. But either way, I mean Jeremy Stevens. Maybe this isn't the thing for him. I think is
she fought a lady named Alice Uger. Her nickname was the Soccer Mom. Oh man!
At least she knows, right?
Yeah.
At least
lean into it.
Yeah, lean into those punches. Chris Avila beat Jeremy Stevens quite easily. Ashton Sylvie, I mean, he treated Mr. Williams Silva like nothing. Hit him with a bunch of body shots. Ashton Sylvie's nice. I don't know if you watch any of that fight. He's gonna be really good. I think H2O is his nickname. He's only like 19. He's 10-0 as a pro, so. Definitely going to be one of those guys that gets slow played until he's like 75 and 0.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. He's fighting, William Silva. I don't think was very good, but he was 30-5. Just a bit older. He fought, I think, Felix Verdejo, who is now going to prison for murdering his wife. He fought him about 7 years ago. Teofimo, he fought him. So, he's fought some decent guys. He's just on the end of his career, but, nothing wrong with giving a 19-year-old somebody that's like 36 and washed up. But, yeah, was there anybody else on this card that we know?
Not really.
We knew of?
CJ Hamilton took the L, which we talked about
of course.
before. But,
figured that was happening.
Yeah, that was about the most predictable thing that was going down this weekend. But that was the scene from this weekend. It was a lot of filth. It really was. But we just spent 53 minutes talking about filth. We're going to have a whole show coming up this weekend. We have a couple of events that we will be, discussing. There is Bellator. Fucking Robert Helenius is getting back in there after he got fucking sent to the sixth dimension, the netherworld by Deontay Wilder, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he took a nice nap.
Yeah, I think he got back in there actually since then. Wow, I didn't even see that. He fought.
So he's fighting Joshua?
Wait, is that real? Did he fight last weekend? No, that's not. That can't be real.
Wait, who? Who?
They're saying Helenius fought this past weekend?
I don't know. I thought he fought recently. Yeah, let's see.
In Finland?
Well, that's where he's from.
Yeah. Is that real?
So,
that can't be real. I'm looking at the whole poster and everything.
Yeah, it looks like he... Oh my God, he fought and it looks like there's this picture. It looks like a brick wall is just they fought in like an escape room. Oh, they fought in a 15th century medieval castle in Finland, and now he's fighting Anthony Joshua at the O2 Arena.
Yeah, like this weekend. How the fuck? What is going on?
He's fighting this weekend. I mean, if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock him out, we need to stop mixing his training partners. Like he's got Derek James, Errol Spence, Ryan Garcia. These are the guys he's sparring and training with every day and learning
sparring
from.
with midgets compared to him, dude. Like now we wonder why he's getting bullied.
I mean, I don't know if he's sparring with them. Robert Helenius is, if nothing else, he's a big boy. It's like 6'7". But yeah, his chin is pretty much dust these days. So I think Anthony Joshua should probably beat. I mean, Eddie Hearn's out here saying Joshua's taking an astounding financial hit to fight Hellenius instead of Dillian White. I'll say Dillian White also taking a nice financial hit. Probably never going to fight again, considering he tested positive for like 15 different things.
On the juice.
So there you go. Yeah, he's on some of the juice. Derek Chisora and Gerald Washington are the main card of this fight, and that makes me really sad. They're both like 47. Gerald Washington is just he's like a relic at this point. But at least they're fighting each other, At least they're not fighting like, Anthony Joshua.
What about
Campbell? Ricky Hatton's son is also on this card.
No, I was going to say, what about Manuel Navarrete getting in there?
Oh,
I know you're excited
Oscar
for that.
Valdez this weekend is going to be nasty. It's in Glendale, kind of going under the radar. Raymond Muratalla on the co-main. Dude, this is going to be really good. Navarrete is so fun to watch. I mean, he throws so many goddamn strikes. I feel like the official counter truly can't keep up. Like whoever does that job, salute. He's fighting Mr. Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez is awesome. I'm trying to bring up odds and a bunch of different things, but I can't. It appears my laptop is also a relic.
And you think like Oscar Valdez lost to Shakur Stevenson and Navarrete.
He went the distance. He also knocked out Miguel Burchell in one of the biggest upsets of 2021. I remember I was feeling Burchell for so long, and he got fucked right at the end of the 10th round. He got fucking smoked, and when that happened, I was like, whoa, like, and you have Navarrete. I mean, what he did to Joey Gonzalez was just easy work. He hasn't really fought. The problem with him, he hasn't really been able to get anybody to fight that's any good, I guess you'd say. But he's gonna have a good fight this weekend. I'm trying to figure out who he lost to. I don't know if it was Salido.
Yeah.
I don't think it was
I couldn't
Salido.
find it on here, but we got a big UFC card this weekend, though. Too. I mean, not like a big names, but there's a lot of fights.
Pickett on the main card.
Yeah,
Woo!
Cub Swanson. I thought he was retiring, but I guess he's getting in there against Hakeem Dawodu. Like you said, Chris Dawkins, Khalil Roundtree, Pauliana Viana, and Yasmin Lucindo. Oh boy, Tafan and Shukwi's getting back in there. The Don.
So I guess Navarrete lost to Daniel Argueta. I'm not sure if that's the same UFC
I would
Daniel
hope not.
Argueta. But that Daniel Argueta Navarrete got the belt, some kind of random belt or a tournament. He was named the champion because Mr. Argueta did not show up to the weigh-in. So
Marcus McGee.
Yeah, my boy.
JP
trained
Bates.
Sean O'Malley.
You think he's gonna smoke?
I mean,
JP
is just gonna keep taking L's.
Wow, Terrence McKinney's getting back in there again. Is that real?
They said if we got Mike Breeden for you, he's like, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
I need to get a win.
Francis Marshall, the fire marshal, took that L
against the Midwest Choppa, baby. We have the Midwest Choppa coming up. I'm excited to see him finally make his debut.
Is he gonna win? I guess you know what? Let's save all this. We can. I'm gonna ask you all your
Juliana
opinions
Miller,
on this fight.
your future champion. You said she's winning by end of 2023.
I compared her to. I actually said she was the female Muhammad Ali, but we'll see how that plays out. But no, I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, we will be back later on this week. Either we were gonna have a show released on Friday at some point, so I hope you all listen to it and enjoy it. And
absolutely,
we will be back at that time. This is the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast, and ladies and gentlemen, as always,
R.I.P. Little Tay.
You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.